Hi everyone, this is the Recreate Reality Podcast with Michael and Teresa. Today, we are talking Survivor US Season 47, Episode 6. For anyone who hasn't watched the show, there are massive spoilers ahead. In today's episode, Kyle is feeling froggy, but will he toad the line or ribbit Rome to pieces? There's blood at the water well, but will Sue get caught red-handed? And what is a merge with no merge? A pre-merge? If you've missed the episode, you can catch all the action on your local streaming services. Survivor US Season 47, Episode 6, breakdown coming up. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
What is with that new voice of yours?
This is my normal voice. What do you mean?
No, it's not. You're starting to sound a little
No.
bit like Morgan Freeman.
This is my new podcasting voice. How do I sound? Natural?
No, not really. You sound like you're trying
It's-
to be God.
It's my respectable and deep and thoughtful voice that will... It's very exhausting to try and put on, actually. I think I'll go back to my normal voice. Is that okay?
Okay, honey.
Oh, man. I wish my voice was like that. Oh, that took a lot out of my vocal cords. Okay. Hello, everybody. We're back at it. Episode 6. It's merge time.
Well, not quite a merge.
It's not merge time.
Not quite a merge.
It's pre-merge time.
Yeah, so this is a first for us. I've never seen a pre-merge before.
Pre-merge. It's so confusing, man.
Yeah.
Like, when is a merge not a merge? When it's a pre-merge? I mean, look, when everybody is on the same tribe in the same place at the same time, that's a merge.
Yeah, especially when
But-
they're like voting in one tribe too.
But they're not here today. Anyway, like, wow, what an episode.
Yeah. That was a really good, satisfying episode. So what was your take on the ending, actually, on Rome getting voted out?
Well, excuse my French, but that was a happy ending. I was very happy, okay? Like, I'm not the biggest Rome fan. He has driven me to my limits this season. He has been like nails on chalk, okay? Chalk and cheese. He's been like, he's just driven me up the wall. I'm a Soul fan and I'm a Teeny fan. Rome, he just irks me the wrong way. But you know what? Upon his exit, I missed him. As soon as
Yeah.
he left, I missed him.
That
Is that
was
weird?
interesting, wasn't it? Because I mean, like, I was actually hoping that Rome would definitely get voted out. He was blindsided.
Yeah.
He seemed very, very surprised that he was blindsided. But after that, his reaction, when he actually walked up to Jeff to get his torch snubbed, he was very cool about it.
He was pure class.
Yeah.
He was eloquent. He was dignified. He was like, guys, don't worry about it. I'm good. Good game. He was how everybody imagines themselves
Yeah.
going out on Survivor, as opposed to, I'm sorry to say, Annika last
Yeah,
week.
I think so. That was a
Which is-
very big contrast to Annika, which I think I was shocked that Annika was shocked. But then I think I was also like really surprised
Shocked
that
at
Rome
Rome.
actually just went out with such a, like he was a very good sport about it. And
It
I
goes to
actually did
show
not expect it.
You never know someone's true character. You might know their personality, but you
Mm-mm.
don't know their character on their show. And it's sometimes hard to tell until they're really tested under the limits of stress and deprivation and all these other things. But Rome is like that toxic, energetic friend that you have who drives you up the wall, drives you crazy. But when they're not there, you kind of miss them a little bit, right?
Yeah, he does bring a lot of like drama to the show, I
Oh,
think. A lot of entertainment.
He does. And now that the show is without him, I feel like it's a bit poorer without him. We haven't got that active villain characteristic to play on now. There isn't that big personality who is open about being treacherous and dishonest on the show now.
And I think you really need that in like
do.
especially like a reality show. So that's what I'm actually thinking is I mean, I think Survivor really played him out to be a Tyrion, like a villain on the show.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a lot of, behind the scenes that they don't actually they film but they don't actually show.
Sure. The
So
edit-
maybe they've actually shown, the edit of him is actually
a villain's edit. for
a
sure.
villain's edit,
For
and
sure.
maybe he's not always like that because I think there's a lot of, different layers to a person's character.
I think he entered the show knowing the history of the show, knowing the great villains of the show like Boston Rob and all these other big characters, and knowing that in order to make an impression, he had to go big. And so he probably played into that a little bit more than he needed to. He played a bigger game than that was safe, but we appreciate it because it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Now, I think if there's ever a returnees season for New Era, I think he'll be a welcome re-addition. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
I
his
think
game.
so.
He was so entertaining.
Yeah.
Upon retrospect, he was so entertaining. And now that he's gone, I don't know who's going to fill that void of big character and big personality on the show. Who do you think? Like, who will fill that gap? Who will they cut to make a little bit nasty?
Do you think maybe Gabe? Because because sometimes I have found the way that he talks about people, like he's a mastermind of a big bad chess player. The way he's like, his little birds and
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Gabe will be cut to make like a villain's edit, and also I think Andy, although Andy in more of a chaotic, naive kind of way, like if Rome is the Joker, Andy is like I don't know who is the opposite of the Penguin, I guess, a little bit bumbling, a little bit unknowing, less meticulous, less conniving, but also up to trouble. You know what I mean? Maybe not the best comparison, but I'll work on that.
Yeah, you work on that, and who knows? Colin Farrell could play him really well.
Johnny Depp. I've been thinking. I saw on this Survivor Reddit, like Andy looks like someone's memory of Johnny Depp if they're trying to draw him from memory.
Yeah, he does because the way he kind of like flicks his hair, he's got very luscious locks,
and he's got very good bone structure.
He's got very good,
he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, Mexican version of Johnny Depp.
So anyway.
Okay, so later on we're gonna break down Rome's gameplay later in the episode.
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
So coming back to just a recap of what happened. Annika has just got voted out. So right now we are at the Garda tribe.
Yeah.
And Rachel is feeling very much at the bottom. And Andy, of course, is ecstatic. Like, his blindside has just gone according to plan. And we all know, like, one of the things about coming onto Survivor is one of your main goals or, a milestone is to execute that perfect blindside. And Andy has just done that. He's feeling on top.
He's feeling himself. And there's nothing worse than being blindsided or being on the wrong side of a blindside where everything you think isn't, right? Your whole reality is flipped upside down. And Rachel saw this hierarchy, right? Where she and Annika were at the top. Maybe Sam was up, where she saw the breadwinners alliance.
Yes.
They thought they were almighty, but guess what? Andy is going gluten-free, and he and Sam upset the whole thing, and it was flipped on its head. And now, Rachel's feeling discombobulated, and she wants merge to come, and it can't come soon enough.
Oh, and it does come. Well,
and
just
behold,
not quite merge.
Lo and behold, cue the merge music, cue the boats ripping into the shore. We get some dramatic stuff, right?
Some very dramatic stuff. And I think one of the things that strikes me was how so for US Survivor, I did a little bit of research, and it's actually been filmed in Fiji and Mamnuka Islands, and so they are a group of 20 islands. So because we don't get these boat shots for Australian Survivor,
no, they're just up the beach,
road.
up the road. They're literally like, hey, other tribe, and they're 50 meters away. It's so low spec compared to this big budget Hollywood.
Yeah, but like for US Survivor, there's a boat coming into each tribe. They get ferried to another tribe.
There's helicopter shots of each of them. Oh my gosh, the budget on this is we're not used to this, okay?
Yeah, we're not used to this. For me,
public school versus private school.
Yeah.
We are in another league here.
Yeah, so at first for me, I'm like, are they actually being filmed on different sides of the island maybe, and that's why you need a boat? But it seems like it could be actually filmed on 3 different islands. But anyway, I'm not quite sure if I could find information, but if anyone could, enlighten me, I would love to know.
We want to know.
Yeah.
We want to know the information. We're noobs at this. Please teach us. So merge comes, well, it's not quite merge. Let's not use the word. Drop your buffs is about to come. And only 5 people are gone though. This is so weird. It's not even halfway through. I am accustomed to merge coming halfway through the show. So if there's 24 people, at about 12.
Yeah.
That's when merge. And then jury is at about 9 to 8, right?
Yes.
This is only 5 out of 18. That is like a third. That's nothing.
It's very quick, I have to say.
It's very quick. I'm not expecting it. And so they're jumping around like, yay, we made merge.
I know.
I don't really feel like they've achieved anything.
Yeah, because I thought that maybe with merge, with US, you kind of have to, so they have 18, you have to be, I think, down to 9 players.
Yeah.
So I thought there would be a few more episodes before we actually get to merge. But it was only 5 episodes. And to be honest, I actually quite like the fact that it's merged because talking about 3 tribes was getting very hard.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it's all one tribe now. And I feel like you can actually really start to see how people are developing socially.
Yeah, now the game starts, right? Now,
Mm.
because before 1 in 6 people were going home, all it took was a 3-2-1 vote against you and you're gone and that's barely anything.
That's
That's
barely
just,
anything, especially when you have an advantage or an
that's,
idol that comes into
yeah,
play, which
that's
seems to
nothing.
actually happen really
Like,
often.
you get voted out of your own household with those kind of numbers very
Yeah.
easily. But when you're talking about 12, 13 people, now we can see some real interesting social dynamics, which is the part that we love
Yeah,
about
like
Survivor. Really working on those relationships, forming alliances, forming relationships, trying to manipulate certain truths and weaknesses in other life. That's what I love about this
yeah,
show. That's what I want to see.
I think it just feels. I think the gameplay just feels a bit more complex and
It
like
is.
yeah, complicated, but also complex and
Yeah, rather than
yeah,
like Garda, which was just like, oh, there's 3 girls and there's 3 guys, let's vote out the guy. Like, that just seems so basic, rudimentary, and kind of unfair. Because I feel like a player like Asia, right? She would have thrived in Merge. And I'm really
mm,
disappointed we didn't get to see her. And John as well.
yeah,
Because they went so early due to such small discriminations that we don't get to see the complexity and the sophistication of their social game. Because Asia, as we know from her podcast, is so well spoken, so charismatic and likable
mm.
that at this point, had she been allowed to get this far, it would have been a different day for her. So I'm sure she's ruining the fact that she didn't get to merge. Oh well. But
Oh well, yeah. I think
yeah,
it's in every player's, like goals to
goals,
get
yeah.
to merge.
It's a threshold goal for sure. Like when you talk about the history of the game, like as little as we know, we do know as much as like if you get to merge, you become a player that will be remembered. If you get to jury, you get a chance to be re-invited, especially if you're memorable. But if you don't get to merge, that's the end of your survivor
I
career. You
know.
probably won't get re-invited back. You won't be remembered.
Yeah.
There's very few pre-merge players that go on to the history to be remembered. And I think anybody that goes onto this show wants to be remembered because that's the point of it, right? To have some kind of legacy. The show has gotten to that point
Mm.
now where it is a legacy game. It's
Yeah.
such a big part of our popular culture and history, at least ours anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So anyway, so on to pre-merge, and very quickly, there is an actual advantage in play. Just I was surprised. I mean, like
yeah, okay. So they get off sent off in a challenge, and it's like go, and they run around looking for an
they
idol.
run looking for an advantage.
An advantage on
Yes.
this massive freaking island. I think it's interesting how Tuku was chosen as the island they all congregate on because
Mm-hmm.
I think visually it looked the most impressive. You got a little archipelago, you got a little peninsula type thing. It's very rocky. You got some dramatic surfaces
Cliffs.
and cliffs and beaches. So interesting that that was chosen. It's the most
Yeah.
visually interesting, whereas the other ones look like just long, flat, white beaches. Beautiful, but not dramatic.
Mm.
But so Tuki was chosen, and they end up on the beach, and they're running around looking for, like, the thing that I thought first up when this challenge was given to them was it's going to be someplace right in front of their noses.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's such a big ask to look for a little advantage on a massive island. It has
Where
to be
there's
right
like
in
a
front of them.
thousand trees, because I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, how do you find an
How?
advantage? Like, is it just hidden in a tree? Like, like it's really hard.
It's impossible, right? So it has to be in front of your noses, right? And so I thought honestly it would be underneath the sign or on the sign itself, right in front, like a detective's curse.
Yeah, I think you
The
picked that
mystery
out
is right
quite
in front of
quickly.
you.
I was
The
like,
solution is right in front of your nose, right?
yeah. And so we find out that it's actually on a buoy that's just in the waters, just a little bit off the beach.
Yeah.
And very and I think quite a lot of people missed it. Sam missed it, but Genevieve, like, she's a smart lady. Like, she just has her spiderly senses tingling, and
Yeah.
she's just, okay, you know what, I'm gonna give this a try. And yeah, lo and behold, she found the advantage.
Yeah. I was thinking about this and I've thought about this before. When they're walking around, these guys, they always have a camera crew with them. Okay. And while you're walking with a camera crew, this is a hint to future players, okay, as an editor, okay? If you see the cameraman next to you sizing up a freaking shot instead of following your footsteps around and trying to refocus a wide shot or something like that, or looking up at a tree next to you, guess what, bro? He's looking at the idol. Okay, that's a clue. So I would tell future players, don't even look at the idol. Just walk around with the camera department next to you, okay, and watch them Because if they, for some reason, switch and swivel their camera off to the side somewhere, they're looking at the idol. And they do in this case, they're looking at the boy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But of course, people don't know this about camera work. And so maybe they miss that. But to me, it's an obvious thing that, production people will do.
Yeah, yeah. So
Is they'll
I
try and
definitely...
get you. They'll try and get you in the shot. Sorry. They'll try and get you and the idol in the same shot and refocus between them. That's a characteristic shot.
Yeah. So I definitely agree
Sorry,
with you on that part, because I think finding an idol can be very difficult. So I'm going to counteract your point on this is when they actually had that shot of the buoy from above, I feel like maybe that wasn't taken at that very instance when Genevieve was looking at it. It could have been actually taken
It was probably
when
taken.
the buoy was was actually left there. It could have been really early on when everyone was sleeping.
Yeah, true.
Before people had even found out about the advantages.
Good point.
So just because the shot is there, it doesn't mean that it's shot chronologically.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
so sometimes they have to take a shot from an earlier scene and and put it there. It might even have been filmed after after she had actually taken the advantage.
That's true.
Just something to take into account.
That's true. So she gets the advantage and Sam totally misses it, saying it's nothing, which is kind of funny. And then they start to, socialize a little bit and
Well,
mingle.
they were kind of like socializing even before it was
They
found. I
were, yeah.
think.
They didn't even go for the advantage because they were just too busy chatting and having a good time.
Yeah, so what do we actually think of this advantage? Because I thought it was actually quite abrupt that there was an advantage put in so quickly when, a new tribe is being formed.
Yeah.
At a time when I feel like, this could actually have been a very good time to focus on people getting to know each other.
And I think that's what people wanted to do. And so they were wary of going for this challenge too hard, of trying too hard. You don't want to be like a Russell on this. So it's interesting how they almost gave each other permission to continue looking for it. How they all went, you know what? We're going to disappoint Jeff. Let's all go. Because, we hear a lot of interesting social stuff going on. So Andy talks to Sol and Sue and talks about how he's found his tribe. Poor Andy. He's always looking to fit in.
Oh, yeah.
Stand out,
is.
Andy. You don't need to fit in. You're your own guy. You don't need anybody else. Stand strong, brother. And then Teeny and Sam, interestingly enough, played the same role in a musical.
Yeah, they seem to get along very well. I think they might, be the new, the new
Power
Ola.
couple.
Yeah.
They're both very handsome people, both very good-looking people. They played the same role, which is so
They
funny.
kind of actually look very similar, like when they've got like mud all up. You
Yeah.
know, like it was actually very hard to tell which one was which.
Yeah, they're both very good-looking people.
Yeah.
Sol and Sue agree they both look good for 45.
Yeah.
What do we think of this?
Okay, I don't know. I don't actually know if Sol actually suspects anything. I
He's
mean, I
being
think
polite.
I think Carl
Like-
probably was being polite. When he was, when Sue first disclosed her age. But Sol, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to get a read on him because his expression is so
I
stoic.
mean, damn, she looks good for 55, but for 45, I don't know. You look good for your age, Sue. Just own
Yeah,
it.
I
Like
think
you're a
so.
beautiful, fit, healthy, successful woman. Embrace your age. Let's not get ageist on this. Let's not let age tie ourselves down. 50 is the new
Yeah.
40. 40 is the new 30. So really, you're just 30.
Yeah, I know.
Man, it sucks. But anyway, and then we get to a bit of an interesting scene. We see a blood bath,
Yes, at the well.
right? Let's
Yes.
unpack this. What's
Okay.
going on here?
So firstly, when Sue realized that everyone was coming over to the Tuku tribe, she went to the well to
Yeah.
wash off her idol because there was still a lot of red paint on it. I think she was worried that people can go through her bags.
This is crazy.
And this was the first time I've actually heard about it because I thought that I didn't think that it was etiquette, that
It's
that
not.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't go through people's bags. I'm sure they do anyway, but you're not
Yeah.
meant to.
Yeah, you're not meant to, but it's not like, oh, hey, everyone, let's
Ah.
go through everyone's
Yeah.
bags.
But it's a tiny idol anyway, so I feel
It's
like
so small.
so small.
It's like a bracelet. Again, it looks
Ah.
like the necklace that, everyone's wearing, like
You get up
Sierra.
at,
So,
you get one at Glebe Markets for $4, and they're made in
Yeah.
Peru by children. Like it's worth nothing. An
Mm,
idol has to be, but I get it. Maybe it needs to be hideable in this modern era. But I don't know why she didn't wash this in the ocean. Like she chooses a well to wash it when in the background there is the Indian Ocean. Like you can cleanse it there without leaving remnants of blood and paint.
I think it's
everywhere.
the Pacific Ocean.
They're in Asia, so it's I don't know. It could be the Philippine Ocean for all I
Sorry
know.
to correct you.
But It could be the Fijian Indian Ocean.
Oh,
But
okay.
nevertheless, you have an ocean.
Okay.
A large body of water to cleanse an idol in. And she doesn't do it there.
Yeah.
She does it in a well, which is just going to leave stains everywhere.
Yeah, and fair enough. And I think, because
me.
people are looking for advantage, and I think they very quickly started to discover that, hey, there's actually blood or red paint around the well, and then they start to dig a little bit more, and Rome found the urn that has been cracked. It's got red paint all over it. And I was actually thinking maybe that's why. I think people maybe thought that was the advantage.
Yeah.
And so that's why they're like, okay, maybe someone's already found it. Let's just sit around the tribe and just kumbaya and just talk.
Yes.
Yes, because when Genevieve had actually found the advantage, I think everyone was so surprised.
Yep. They're like, oh, that means that the pottery is something else.
Yes.
Ooh. And then Tiana clicks and Caroline clicks. And this is really funny.
Okay.
How Caroline confronts Sue. What do we think of this?
Yeah, it was interesting because the way Caroline went up to Sue was like, okay, I know you have the advantage. I was kind of like thinking, why didn't she actually ask Sue, hey, do you have an advantage? Like, there's a very big difference between telling someone they have done something rather than actually asking them.
Yeah, she wanted to show that she knew. And it was kind of funny because they were both playing the I know you know, but no. But I know you know that I know, but no. But I know that you know that I know that you know. But no, but we both know, you know?
Yeah, we both know.
And so it was weird. And I don't know why she did it this way. I guess she was just like, because Sue's like, I don't have it. I don't know what you're talking about. And Carolyn just goes, yeah, you can trust me, nodding like this.
Yeah, so how do you think like Caroline feels about Sue not telling her? Like, do you think that she would have felt maybe like, oh, maybe I can't trust Sue as much? Or was he trying to make her feel more comfortable?
You can never tell, but from the confessionals, she sort of seems proud of her, right? She said, I'm so happy for her. She's playing the game. She's not taking it personally, it seems. I would have taken it personally.
Yeah, because I felt like I might have taken it a little bit personally and maybe
like,
just, hey, kept it close to the knowledge that, okay, maybe Sue probably has an advantage, but maybe just not confronting her about it.
But I think Caroline really is an open-hearted, open player.
Yeah.
And so she just walked up to her and says, I know you got it. I'm proud of it. You can trust me.
I don't know. I feel like, maybe there's something in the card said that we might not see. And I feel like maybe this might come to haunt Sue a little bit in the future. I don't know. I think
what Caroline is thinking is that I need Sue. And Sue with an idol, I extra need her. And so however this shakes, I need her on my side. And the adverse to that, the opposite of that, is Tiana, who doesn't confront Sue and instead chooses to use that information perhaps later as power, right?
Yeah.
So Tiana will probably use that and say to someone else, hey, I think Sue's got an idol. She's a threat. Be wary. Watch out.
Yeah, just like how she did to Gabe.
Yeah. But Caroline plays it this way in terms of, look, let's coexist. Let's use this information. Let's work together. And we'll see how it shakes. You never know how something's going to play this early, but I like it. I like how Caroline's playing. And
she seems very straightforward.
Very straightforward. Yeah. She seems like someone you can trust, you can work with going forward.
And she's smart too.
She's so smart.
Yeah. Okay, so now everyone's getting to know each other. And we have Rome, starting to, I guess, gossip to everyone.
Gossip girl.
Yeah, gossip
Call her Blake Lively, Rome. You cannot stop.
Yeah, so he has been telling everyone, I think, what Carl has confided in him, but he's kind of putting his own spin onto it and exaggerating every point.
Right, like, okay, there was a guy in high school that used to do this shit. His name's gonna remain nameless, but what he would do is, right, he would come up to you and say, hey, what do you think of A? Isn't he a jerk? And you'd reply, oh, yeah, okay, guess he's a jerk, yeah, just agreeing with him. And then he'd come back go to B and go, hey, B said that you're a jerk. He'd put words in your mouth and try and catch you out.
Yeah,
right? And this is what Rome is doing. By the way, that dude isn't a friend anymore. But this kind of tactic works in high school very well because people don't cross-check information. People are too insecure to speak to one another. They're not confident enough to confront people about being talked about.
And you haven't really learned like conflict resolution skills where you're like, okay, maybe if I approach the person and actually ask him, we can like fact check whether this is actually true.
This triggers me because you know how much social drama I got into high school in trouble because I was talking shit and I didn't mean to because I got baited. Okay. I'm seeing a psychologist about this.
So anyway, so So
Rome is just stirring shit.
he is. So in this instance, I think Kyle had said that Caroline is not good at challenges. So
Yeah.
Rome then goes to Sue and Caroline and tells them that, oh hey, Kyle says that Caroline is super weak.
Super
There's
weak.
a very big difference
That's a
between
big
saying
difference.
that someone is not good at challenges
And you're
and
super
saying,
weak.
yeah, super weak. What one is, like an action and and the other one is a character.
Is an insult, like a full-on
Yeah.
flame, right?
Okay.
Rome, bro, you should know better than to troll. As a gamer, you should know better to troll. He exaggerates and he feeds. He trolls.
Yeah.
I think this is an immature game, and we're gonna see how it plays out. But also, this plays into Rome's pattern of taking out strong male figures.
Yeah, I have
What do we
noticed,
think about
this?
this?
I mean, because in
Let's talk
past
about it.
episodes, he have said that I think he's confessed that he's not a fan of TK after TK had gotten voted out.
Athletic, popular, strong, good-looking.
Yes, and then in Lavo, he has actually been trying to target Soul.
Athletic, good-looking, strong.
Okay, and now he's obviously targeting Kyle.
Athletic, good-looking, strong.
Okay.
Right? There's a pattern here, yo.
Okay.
Rome. I feel sorry for Rome because I feel like, bro, you should be more of a bro.
Well, he's not a bro.
He's not a bro. I think, and he's so obvious in his targeting of male. Like, it would have been Sam next in his targeting of males that it limits his game so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a gamer thing. And he just doesn't like these chads, right?
Yeah.
I found out, honey, Teresa, that a chad.
I know what a Chad is.
Is a studly dude, apparently.
I know what a Chad is.
You do?
Yeah, do you know what a Stacy is?
No, what's a Stacy?
No, you go find out yourself.
Is a Chad like a Stacy like a Chad?
Yeah, but the female version, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I don't know any Chads or Stacys, so it's very interesting. Okay, must be an American name.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, I think this really works to his disadvantage. So at one point, Rome goes up to Tiana and says that Carl is actually targeting her. And in which case, I actually think, like right now, we're actually really seeing Soul. I don't know. I have a lot of admiration for Soul in the way he handled that. Because when Tiana confesses to Soul and he says, something's not right, like Rome is just telling me all these things about Kyle. And what does Soul do?
Yeah, well, before we get to that, sorry, Tiana was very instinctive there and just says something is not right. She doesn't just eat the shit that Rome is feeding her. Instead, she says, I don't believe you.
And I think this again plays back into because it's not really high school anymore.
Like,
we're not kids anymore.
We're not going to buy that, Kyle said you're smelly pants and that you poo-poo. Oh, really? Did he? Well, I'm going to go kill Kyle. It's not that basic.
Yeah.
These are adults who understand dynamics, and when people are trying to feed them shit, and especially on Survivor, everyone's radar is up.
Yeah.
So Rome, really basic gameplay, really childish, I'm sorry to say. I don't know how he thought this was going to work, but he's actually arrogant about it, saying, I'm some kind of mastermind. Bro, this ain't high school. This is chess, not checkers. Yeah. And so, to what you were saying, Tiana then goes to Soul, right?
Yeah, I think Soul actually handled it very well. Because Soul was like, okay, this is just what Rome does.
Right.
And he's basically just letting Rome's ego get the better of himself because he knows, Rome will just talk and talk and talk. And then he will basically just get himself into trouble. And he's just letting it unfold without really trying to target him in a way.
I love that. Because I thought on Merge, Soul was going to jump off the boat and going, everybody, Rome's been picking on me. He's bad. Instead, he doesn't do any of that.
No.
He just socializes with people.
Yeah.
He gets to know them, and he lets Rome hang himself with his own rope. He doesn't even need to put the rope out there.
No. Well,
and
actually,
that's smart.
It was what he did to it was what he actually asked Tiana. So he actually asked Tiana, would you like me to talk to Kyle about this? Because maybe if you actually confront him about it, he might not tell you the truth.
This was
so
smart.
He was very, very diplomatic. He actually asked Tiana if that was okay with her. Rather than just going behind her back, So he was just keeping everyone informed on all channels, keeping communications open.
This is a really slick, socially deft game move by Soul because I think this builds trust with Tiana because now he's the middleman. It builds trust with Kyle because he's the middleman. And even though Kyle and Tiana have worked together on Tuku, now Soul has made himself valuable to both of them as someone they can trust.
Yeah,
suddenly.
And he's probably going to be a part of their new alliance going forward.
Really good move by Soul. I thought this was good because if I had jumped off that island in Soul's position, I would have been screaming, "Rome has to burn." You know what I mean? I was heated watching the show.
Yeah.
I was like, get Rome, kill Rome. And, but Soul played it cool. And this is why I wouldn't be good on Survivor, because Soul is cool. And he played it so slick.
He did.
And kudos to you, Soul. Obviously, it pays off in the end, but he won the episode as far as I'm concerned, but we'll get to that. And so then he goes, Kyle unwraps what is happening. And he says, I am feeling so froggy right now. I could froggy frog a frog.
Yeah. I was like, I had to ask you, what does feeling froggy mean?
I have not heard this expression. This must be a Mississippi hillbilly thing. But apparently, if you're feeling froggy, it means you're feeling called into action, feeling like you want to start something.
Ah, right.
So, like, you want to get into a fight or get into a challenge, feeling G'd up is what you say in Australia.
Were you a bit surprised that Kyle was actually feeling quite agitated about this? Because normally he seems like he's actually quite a chill character.
I think this is what Boston Rob calls finding someone's inner values, right? Finding out what a character and what a player values most and is dearest to them is how you access their value system and how you get them to do what you want to do. So for Boston Rob and Coach, if you remember, it was his honor system. So Boston Rob would conclude every meeting with him with shaking his hand, because that would tie into his inner brain saying, oh, I've made my word. I've made a contract. I have to hold to this contract. I've shook his hand.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think Kyle's value system, let's go through some of the players, right?
Okay, yeah. Some of the notable players, yeah.
Okay. So I think Andy's, his value system is based upon acceptance.
Right.
If you accept him for who he is without judging, teasing, or joking about him, he's your guy.
Well, because like probably in his past, he's probably felt like he's always on the outs, and maybe he's had people tease him or bully him.
Exactly.
So it's very important. Well, like obviously, like Annika probably maybe wasn't wasn't that accepting of him.
Yeah, but Sam accepts him, sees him for who he is, embraces his character. John did as well, and so that's what he values. And people that do that for him, he's got you.
Okay, and then so for Kyle,
I'll get to a couple more.
Right.
I got a couple more saved up. Okay, for Rome, it is loyalty. Okay, for Rome, if you are loyal to him and in his alliance, and for him, loyalty means something different than what loyalty means to you and I. I think loyalty to him means obeisance and following him.
Yeah. Because when he found out that Teeny kind of like went behind, and Kishan went behind their word.
Yeah, he killed them and he got super mad.
Yeah.
There was no soul after that. He just wanted to get rid of those two because loyalty is so important to them. Even more important than disrespect from Soul. You know, that overrided. The lack of loyalty that Kishan and Teeny showed to him erased anything that Soul had done to offend him.
Well, which is kind of a little bit in line with, okay, like say if you're a king, you probably are the most afraid of someone being disloyal, like to you, like, if you're, if you're a tyrant. Yeah,
if you're a tyrant, exactly. Rome has that tyrant mentality, I think. That's his psychology. Okay, Soul, I thought about.
Okay.
Soul is from a very patriarchal Korean culture, and he is all about respect.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you remember, he talked about Rome disrespecting him, and he didn't say this or that. He talked about his age, and he said, this guy is 10 years younger than me, and he disrespects me, because age is very important in Korean culture. I have seen sporting contests between two Korean males, and one will the younger man will just like surrender to the older one. And culturally, it's accepted. Just because, and he'll say, "You're my big brother. You beat me." I've seen that happen.
Yeah, I think we've seen a couple like in Physical 100.
In Physical 100, in breakdancing competitions, in boxing competitions.
Yes.
I've seen the younger male just surrender to the older male because respect to your elders is important. And I think Soul, it's somewhere imprinted in him. Respect.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've worked in a Korean company before, and definitely age is very much tied in terms to hierarchy.
Yeah.
So if you're someone younger, you do not question someone who's older.
Yeah.
And, someone who's younger has to bow to, the other person and call them by their titles are very important in Korean culture.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So I suspect that this is important to Soul. Obviously, I'm not sure because he grew up in Connecticut, I think it is. But yeah, these are the value systems of different players. Now, for Kyle, it's honesty. Okay, this is very important to Kyle, that you're honest and that you're open and you say what you're going to do and you do what you're going to say and you don't bullshit me.
Yeah, because he did get very worked up when he found out that Rome had been twisting his words.
He got so worked up, he got froggy. He got froggy, and he the rest of the episode you see him swearing and cursing Rome's name. I was afraid he was going to use some racial epithets just because it seemed in line with his accent or something. I don't know, but I was afraid. Like he just got so upset, and we haven't seen Kyle this fired up before.
No, we haven't. So I think that was kind of like an eye opener.
Yeah, it was, and so that's
Yeah.
something interesting going forward for the players and the viewers to maybe keep in mind, because we all have different value systems that will trigger us. Obviously, all these things like respect, acceptance, honesty, they're important to all of us, but some are more important than others.
Yeah.
And so that's why that comes into play in Survivor. And this is the part of the game I find really fascinating.
Yes, and I think that's why we're having this podcast, like discussing it, and I think it's great, like that you did some research on Boston Rob. Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. She hasn't seen all the scenes.
Sorry, I really have. I don't know who he's talking about.
Okay, now the necklace.
Okay, so on to the challenge. And finally, we see the immunity necklace.
What do we think of the immunity necklace?
Oh, it looks amazing. Oh my God,
Does it?
Looks like you're Count Dracula. You've got like a bat, you've got a skull. I think it's one of the more impressive immunity necklaces. It really makes an impression.
Is it made out of an actual bat?
Nah, I don't think so. I would love it if it was, but it would have to be like
cool.
taxidermy. I mean, like I personally, I love taxidermy and bones and skulls and stuff.
Yeah.
So I like this kind of things.
Freak.
Yeah, you married one.
So yeah, I think, I don't know, it looks cool, but a little bit artificial to me.
Maybe a little bit Halloween-y.
A little bit Halloween-y,
Right.
but nevertheless, it looks pretty impressive as a silhouette.
Yeah.
And we see the challenge going on, and it starts out as a group challenge, then becomes an individual challenge. And I mean, there's not much to talk about, but we do get to the end of the group challenge, and it's Rome v Sol, right? They are just yelling at each other. Sol is like, can we swap out?
Yeah, so this is at the balancing maze,
man.
where two players, so we have Gabe and Rome on one end trying to direct a ball, balance a ball into the
Maze,
into a maze.
And then Sam and Kyle on the other side.
Yes.
And Sol is like, can we swap him out? Rome is like, chill, man, I got this. Gabe is like, I appreciate you, Sol, but just chill. And Jeff says, normally an individual challenge, it's all you, but here you got to worry about the other idiot. As the shot cuts to Gabe and Rome. I thought this was hilarious.
Yeah, like Rome, he seemed very, like his actions were very big, okay, at the challenge. And even Jeff was saying you need very small, controlled
Tiny,
movements.
subtle movements.
Yeah, but the way he was just like, like flipping that thing, it was like he's doing a lat pull down, like at the gym. Yeah.
It was so violent and abrupt and janky. Rome, dude, I don't know what. I don't even believe that you're a gamer, bro.
Yeah, it's interesting that he always puts himself up for these kind of challenges, because we've seen in past episodes he's not the best at these kind
He's the worst.
challenge. We've seen him at the puzzle where he couldn't figure out which piece. Like,
he sat there like the special child at preschool, unfortunately, that just couldn't figure it out.
But he always wants to go first for these challenges, because otherwise he says he's going to get really mad because
I know.
Yeah.
Is it delusion? Is it delusional confidence? I think that's what it is, right? Like they say that super successful people need almost a delusional confidence to get far, because if you're really aware of your abilities,
you know
you're
what
doubtful.
you can't do.
You know what you can't do, and you're doubtful.
Yeah.
He doesn't care, and he thinks he's Superman at this shit.
Yeah.
And he sucks.
Yeah.
But you know who is awesome? Sue.
Yes. Okay, so there's a second part to this challenge. We get to the part where I think half of the tribe, they have to go onto these balancing beam, and they have to toggle like a ball on a curved arc.
This is a familiar challenge for us Australian fans. We've seen this a lot. We've seen players like Emmett dominate this, and you need good balance, core strength, stillness, coordination. People that are good at yoga tend to be good. I like these challenges because they're not about enduring pain.
They're not about strength.
They're not about strength. Women can do as well as men.
Yeah, probably actually even better.
Even better.
Yeah.
And it requires good movement, balance, and coordination rather than just brute strength. And we see that. And this is where I think, okay, Kyle wins. And I think this marks Kyle as a true physical beast in challenges. Because although people will look at Sam and go, oh, this guy's got the muscles, to me, Kyle has movement and balance. And that's why I think he's the most athletic and the most physically able. I've
Mm.
seen him run, I've seen him swim, I've seen him balance on a beam.
He's very precise. Like, he can just
moves
do
well.
things in like, in one go without having to, like do it a second time.
He doesn't take 2 steps when 1 step will do. That's what my
Yeah.
old basketball coach used to say. Efficiency of movement. And he has that. And Sue, okay, kicks ass at this. And I thought about this for a minute. I was like, why is she so good at this? And well, she's a pilot.
Yes.
Okay. And the action that she's doing, the left and right, the steering of this mechanism is much like a pilot with a pilot's wheel, right? Where a pilot has to balance a plane to find equilibrium so that it's flat to the horizon so it doesn't crash into mountains, right? They have to find that, and they have to use subtle, tiny movement and balance and feel that, right? They feel that equilibrium.
Yeah.
Drivers and pilots are very good at this.
Yeah.
And so what she's doing is right up her alley. And so I thought this was a fantastic challenge to show her superpowers and her abilities. She really shined at it. And I'm surprised that no one else remarked that it's due to her experience as a pilot that she was so good at it.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, I mean, when she, like proved to be very good at it, I was actually surprised. But after listening to you talk about her skills on flying, it actually makes sense.
Yeah. Her arms are ripped.
Yeah.
Golly.
Like she's a gorgeous, like, I don't know what, 55? 58? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Her arms are impressive.
Yeah.
They've got cuts, they've got bumps, the cuts have those cuts.
I know, I mean, I wish I was that fit at her age.
I was that fit at 20. She's ripped.
Yeah.
She's got nothing to be ashamed of. She's amazing.
No.
Sue, I just wish she won this. It would have been awesome.
I know, it would have been really awesome. Yeah. Well, anyway, we see that Kyle actually wins this. He's got the bat tattoo on his back to match the bat necklace on his front. And now we move on to the pre-merge feast.
Yeah. And so a few things happen at this pre-merge feast, okay? Sam eats a pineapple.
His first one.
And then he tells everyone about it. Like, newsflash, guys, I like pineapple.
Yeah.
Wow. Tina gets drunk.
Yeah, she did, actually. I know, that was very funny.
She's adorable when she's drunk. She says, I need a buddy. Like, she's so funny. She's one of those drunks, I think, that when they get drunk, like, one eye closes and, like, they get a little bit, and everybody agrees on the name. And it is Rome.
It is Rome, yes. Can I just ask, so how do you feel about Genevieve? Because I think I was kind of I was wondering whether she would actually give Rome up, because kind of Rome has actually kind of been her number one.
He has. I think she feels at this point that the gig is up and she can't take Rome any further.
Yeah.
Like, he was good as a rocket booster pre-merge and in your little Larvo tribe.
And as a shield
but now our games cannot go any further because you're just too unpopular. And if I associate myself with you, I'm in danger. And so she's smart not to stick up for him here, I think. Because I thought, she's going to say, not Rome. How about Sol? But she just is very diplomatic and letting the waves crash where they may and not fighting.
Well, do you think, I mean, like, even if you say you are not going to, like, even if you were against the popular vote, you can't even actually really say that you are. Because, like, say, when people were asking, should there be a backup plan, and Andy's name came up.
Sam and Sierra. They give it up. They have to. Because at this point, at the pre-merge, or at merge, social dynamics are still settling and you don't want to disrupt it. And so no one wants to put up their hand and say, no, not this guy, yes, this guy. And so everyone's just going with the flow kind of thing. And so that's why I think Andy's name gets thrown up as a backup plan.
Yeah.
That's why Genevieve doesn't stick up for Rome.
Yeah, so it's almost like you kind of have no choice. You kind of have to agree to go with the flow, even if that's not what you're actually doing.
Yeah. And then we hear some talk about the amulet, right? And how, you got to get rid of it in a public way, because what do we think about these amulets? I don't like them. I don't like this thing. I don't like this advantage. I think it's a disadvantage. I don't like it. Get rid of it.
So we go to Tribal and we see that Caroline, Andy, and Teeny actually, they offer to give the amulet up and for Teeny to get the immunity.
Yeah, and like, just speaking on this advantage generally before we get to Tribal, I think the problem with this mechanic is that everybody knows about it, so it doesn't retain its strength, its secrecy, its impact. Because
Mm.
if everybody knows you have an idol, it stops being an advantage. It becomes a burden, and people mark you, and you just have to use it straight
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
So I just don't like them. I think they should get rid of them. And
Mm.
not only that, it involves two other players, so it becomes super public and super aware. And you need agreements on consensus with two other players before you can use it.
Well, I think in this case, probably the amulet was used because maybe production would like to pit player against player.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those devices where it seems like it's going to help, but it actually isn't helpful.
Yeah, it's
You
not a great
know?
mechanic.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't love
actually
it.
more to rather than actually promote harmony, it actually does the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean like you said, it just got played very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if in past seasons whether the amulet has actually been used before to actually disrupt the game.
Yeah.
But in this case, it feels
Not
like
feeling it.
all three players, they
Yeah.
feel like it's in their interest to actually just get rid of it.
Yeah. Before we get to tribal, a few interesting things in tribal life. We see Rome eating a crab all to himself. What do we think of this? I think, now we don't know exactly what happened, but it looks like he's just digging into this hermit crab and not sharing any of it. I know
Well-
that half the tribe went to the feast, but this was an opportunity, I think, to really bond and socialize with people and to use this, this crab as a piece of, equity.
Well, I think it looks like he did because I know in previous episodes, he wouldn't give Aisha. I think he gave Aisha a tiny morsel
Yeah.
of a fish that he caught. He had caught 4 fishes. He ate 2 himself. So this one, I'm sure if he didn't eat the whole crab, he would have at least gotten the 2 claws.
Yeah, we see him munching on this crab, and I would have made a crab rice,
Okay.
right? I would have used
On
the
Survivor
crab shells.
Island?
Oh yeah, I would have used the crab shells to infuse a little shellfish flavor. Okay, I'm getting caught away with food. But crab can go a long way if you know how to
Yeah.
use the shells. They're very flavorful.
Yeah, they can be used to
Anyway.
flavor like rice or beans, maybe even
Yeah.
coconut.
So pre-tribal, let's talk about pre-tribal.
Yeah.
So Rome goes around telling everyone what the plan is. Bruh.
Mm.
So if you can't read body language, Rome, you need to learn, son. He just walks up to Caroline and who was there? Andy and Tiana, I think it is. And he just says, okay, guys, the vote is on Sol.
Mm.
Cool? And their body language literally recoils from him. Like they all fold their arms, take a step back, look down. Their body language is obvious that they're not into this, yet he is just so excited. He can't see it.
Yeah, well, he's orchestrating his blind side, so
I know he's got more blind sides than he does teeth. Sweet, sweet Rome. Oh, I don't know why he doesn't see this, but yeah, to me. And then he goes on to talk about Sol bullying him on the beach,
yeah, that was
right?
an interesting thing because
what?
he was actually the one that was kind of bullying Sol before.
He was.
When he was just getting when they were still in Lavo and he was just getting into his space, not leaving him alone, not letting him
Yeah,
look for an
He
idol.
was.
Yeah, so I think that was an interesting
This was
projection.
disgusting. And now he's painting himself as some kind of abuse victim. The way he cried and was like, oh, he makes me feel small and he's so big and strong and I'm just a little sweet Rome. And dude, this was so funny. And like,
Did you see Caroline's
oh
expressions?
my gosh. Caroline's expression. Caroline showed us all the stages of empathy and sympathy. Like she went from smiling to laughing to crying to eyeing to, wow, she's so expressive. This was so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we've got to make something out of this meme. Like this is, if you haven't seen it, check out our Insta, our TikTok. We're gonna put it up there at some stage. But
Yeah.
Caroline was so good in
She
this.
was very good, and I think, like, to be honest, like, very good camera work too, like on the guys to be able to capture like Rome.
It was.
Because you just see like Caroline, like, in the background.
Yeah.
While he was talking, and it's priceless, timeless.
A good director once advised me, don't capture the action, capture the reaction. And that's what this cameraman did very well because the reaction is the audience and you want to get the audience to empathize. This is what he told me. I don't know. It's all gibberish. I'm an idiot. But capture the reaction. That's how you get the audience to engage. And this was brilliant camera work because the obvious move would have been to capture Rome and just to get what he's saying. But this cameraman refocused, caught Caroline and these amazing expressions that she just throws through. She's amazing. She's got
Yeah,
many
yeah.
facials.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So what happens next? I mean,
Okay, so now I guess we move on to tribal.
yeah, we get into tribal.
And oh yeah, so one of the big things
Oh.
that tribe.
Sorry, before that, I've got something to say.
Okay, fine.
He disses Kirk Heinrich.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay.
Rome, sorry, before we get to tribal,
Okay.
Rome totally shits on Kirk Heinrich.
Okay, I don't know who that is, but okay.
I'm going to teach everyone.
Okay.
He goes, this isn't Magic versus Larry. This is Jordan versus Kirk Heinrich. Okay, screw you, Rome. Kirk Heinrich was a very serviceable point guard for the Chicago Bulls for 17 years. He averaged 10 points and 5 assists. He was the 4th Rookie of the Year after LeBron, D-Wade, Carmelo Anthony. He was ahead of Chris Bosh. 5 Hall of Famers. He came 4th in voting in his rookie year. Kirk Heinrich had a good career, man. Like, don't diss Kirk Heinrich. I'm sorry, I just get upset about this. Always, yeah, I like Kirk Heinrich. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. And if anyone can see my expression right now, I got one of those, like, people at tribal when, they're watching Rome, like, present, like, what are the advantages and disadvantages of what advantage yeah, when he's, like, taking Jeff's seat.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay, so what do we think of that? Okay, we get to the tribal.
Yes.
And Rome is having a great time.
He's very entertaining actually. So Jeff actually says, Rome, why don't you come up to my seat, take my seat, and tell me about the advantage, like, the amulet actually.
Yeah, and Rome goes off. He wants to take his job. He couldn't even hide it.
To be honest, he was actually really good at it. I have to say, because I feel like I'm not very articulate when I speak. And it takes a lot to get my points across. But he just does it so naturally and so entertainingly.
Yeah, he's good.
He's very good, yeah.
I mean, this is what he does for a living. Yeah. He's got the gift of the gab. He just doesn't shut the F up. But he's good at this, man. I was impressed. I was like, wow, he's doing it. He's firing away. He's doing the full voice and he's doing the... Apparently, I read somewhere that he turns down Survivor when he watches it and just commentates along to it. Like, wow, that is full next level.
Mm-mm. Yeah, so anyway, it was, as Rome says, it was like a dream come true for him, to be able, well, because it's like a Survivor first. I think it's the first time maybe Jeff has given up his seat for someone else to take it. So for Rome, that would be just like the milestone of the century.
He's so happy. He doesn't even care that he's going home.
No, he doesn't. And I think that's one of the things, because I was thinking, he actually turned into like a really good sport when it wasn't something that I expected of him. Yeah. And I'm thinking if maybe that was what is it, because he was already so joyful.
Yeah.
He already achieved his high of being the first to do something on Survivor history. Etch his name into some kind of Survivor legacy.
Yeah.
That, getting voted out, getting blindsided.
He's okay with it. Yeah. So here's some interesting expressions from Kyle too. He says, phony baloney getting tossed around of a trussed up conundrum.
Yeah, boy has got quite a lot of phrases he can teach us.
Yeah, like a country boy, he has a lot of expressions. And then Rome talks about his what does he talk about? He doesn't take his own advice about being a stirrer, basically.
Right, ruffling feathers?
Ruffling feathers, that's what the expression was. I was trying to remember. I've notes in, I can't read my own bloody writing. Okay, so Rome says, at merge, you don't want to rustle feathers. And it's like, bruh, that's a meme. Like, hello, Rome. And so, what else do we see it?
Okay, so I think people go to vote. We learned that Andy actually speaks German.
Yeah, right. I'm a bit wary of people that learn German for fun. I feel like if you're learning German for fun and not Spanish or French, like, why do you learn German for fun? Is it because you want to appreciate Mein Kampf in its original language? Like, I don't know. I just don't understand. It's not the most beautiful language. It's very harsh, right? So I'm always skeptical about people learning German. No offense. Okay. And we see also a newfound confidence from Andy at Tribal too.
Yeah. Like, he is super ecstatic at the fact that, Annika has just got it voted off. He said that was fun. So we're seeing this newfound confidence from Andy. And what do you think about that?
I feel scared. Whenever I see Andy high or low, I get scared.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like something's going to happen. Like, he's going to spiral up or spiral down.
Yeah, because right now he seems very confident, but it wasn't so long ago when he was spiraling into like, depression and going into like having mini meltdowns.
Well, the opposite of depression is mania.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're someone that is depressed often, when you're not depressed, you're going to be manic. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have a Jack Russell. I know all about manicness. Okay. And I feel like Andy is on the threshold of that. Okay. We'll get more to Andy in a bit because then we get to the vote, right?
Yeah, we get to the vote. And Andy's name actually got written down twice.
Yeah. Sam's name gets written down by Rome, it speaks to how confident Rome was that he thought he didn't even need to write an extra vote for Sol because he thought all 11 other votes were going to go on Sol. So he didn't even need to write his name down. He thought he would get away with voting Sam. And it also speaks to him wanting to get rid of all the males.
Yeah, so he's already in his mind started to target Sam because, well, Carl, he might win another immunity. So yeah, that's the kind of people he targets.
Dude, he just doesn't like bros, bro.
Yeah.
And then what else happens? And so yeah, Andy has found this newfound confidence.
But then he he realizes he was actually the backup plan.
I know.
And then I think that just causes him to.
I think this is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because I think him finding out that he was the backup plan is going to piss Andy off because acceptance, as I said, was the thing for him. He thought Sam had accepted him and brought him into his confidence. Now that he's found out that Sam knew something that he didn't, I think it's going to really make him spiral. I feel like to save himself or save this from happening, Sam could have gone up to Andy and said, look, like, Genevieve and Sue and Caroline and all these other people, they wanted a backup plan. They threw your name out there. I didn't know how to stop it. I'm going to try and stop it. But if your name gets written down a couple of times, don't freak out. We're going to be okay. I got you. You know what I mean? I think that could have been the play for Sam to make there. But to not tell him, I feel I don't know.
Yeah.
And we see it in the trailers, right?
We see it in the trailer. I think
where Andy goes, "I'm going full Garda. I'm going for Garda."
Yeah. So I think he's starting to feel betrayed. Maybe he just thought that he had just found his footing after they had blindsided Annika because he is together with Sierra and Sam.
Yeah.
But now that he realizes he wasn't in on the plan, it's like revenge.
Revenge.
Revenge is sweet.
His revenge is sweet. He's gonna go full nutso. Like, I think this could have been averted. So that's pretty much it for the episode, I think. Rome's gameplay. Vene Vice voted off Rome.
Yeah, so I think we all got what we wanted and more. I think it was a great ending, super entertaining. I have to say I'm really enjoying watching US Survivor. I didn't think I would.
Loving it so far.
There's some twists, but yeah, I like it.
Let's just go over Rome's gameplay before we conclude.
Okay.
Like, where did it go right for Rome? Where did it go wrong? Like, I think, honestly, Rome can't help being Rome. So it was never going to be anything other than this, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. And even, say, people in his alliance, say, with Teeny, she kind of, felt like she had to work with him. He had so much power in the beginning that you could not
still a vote.
not work with him.
Yeah.
If he hadn't had that, he might have actually gotten voted off. I think maybe his probably biggest thing was just that it just got too chaotic.
Yeah, he wanted to play a big game. I think he came on the show saying, I want to be a big player. I want to make big moves. And I think a lot of first-time players do this. We saw David in Australian Survivor make big moves when he first came. Big, chaotic Luke. And it's not until the second, third time that they come on that they learn to subdue it a little bit and be a little bit slick. But by then, maybe people already know their moves. I feel like Rome came in so big, so chaotic, and a little bit clumsy at times that I feel like there was more there.
Yeah, there's more there.
There's more there, and I feel like...
I think he still got some way to go. And maybe looking back at this, maybe now that he watches it and he can see himself. Because sometimes, the way you behave, especially under duress, when you're trying to survive, when you have no food, you're hungry all the time.
Yeah.
Like your best...
self
doesn't come through. And maybe looking back at this, he might be like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that was the way I was being portrayed. And maybe he could come back and it could be a very different Rome. We never know.
Yeah, he made an impression.
That's
for sure. We'll never forget Rome.
Yeah, and also I think the fact that he went out, he was a very good sport. I think that shows something there. That's not easy to do.
That was his redeeming feature.
Yeah, I really like him, after that for that.
Along with his big, beautiful gums, they were his redeeming feature. features.
Oh, some people like, tummy smiles, and I don't mind that. It's very cute.
No, I ended up liking him in the end, which
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel confused.
Yeah, and I think maybe a lot of people will get that too.
Yeah, so bravo, Rome. It was nice knowing you.
Well,
Shall we
anyway,
wrap it up?
guys, so this is a wrap up, and thank you so much for listening to the show. This is the Recreate Reality Podcast by Michael and Teresa. You can find us on Recreate on TikTok and Instagram. That's WRECK.CREATE, where you can watch funny short clips of what we've talked about. If you like what you hear, be sure to like and subscribe to our pod. It really helps us a big deal, and we are extremely grateful for any support we get. We'll be back shortly with the next episode, so stay tuned.
Bye.